Focus on your team as well while they shine the ball, eh? Not just the opposition. Trying to catch people off.
We have an appeal here.
Wow, what a catch there. He might have hurt himself. But that is stunning.
For the delivery from Ishant Sharma. He's at the batsman now. Take it easy, take it easy.
Well, who was in whose path?
Arm lift here soon.
Oh boy, hold him back. Somebody hold him back. Hold both of them back.
Andrew Symonds, a monkey. Harbhajan's team this time was all legal. Inside Adelaide's Federal Court building, everyone looked out of place. Andrew Symonds supported by bleary-eyed witnesses Matthew Hayden, Captain Ricky Ponting and Michael Clark.
Cricket has always been more than just a game in India. It is emotion, it is pride, it is history written ball by ball. And sometimes one single incident becomes so big that it changes how a nation looks at the game forever. This is the story of that incident, but to understand it, we must go back years before it happened. The rivalry begins March 16, 2001. On March 16, 2001, at Eden Gardens in Kolkata, Indian cricket found itself staring into the abyss. Australia were not just another touring side, they were the undisputed kings of world cricket. 16 consecutive Test victories, a team stacked with legends Steve Waugh, Ricky Ponting, Shane Warne, Glenn McGraw, Adam Gilchrist. A side that did not just want to beat opponents, but dominate them psychologically. India, on the other hand, were struggling. After a poor first innings, India were forced to follow on. In Test cricket, following on usually means one thing: defeat is inevitable. The crowd at Eden Gardens had already begun to lose hope. Then came one of the greatest partnerships in the history of the game. VVS Laxman, elegant and fearless, played the innings of his life. Rahul Dravid, calm and unshakable, stood like a wall at the other end. For 2 full days, Australia tried everything. They sledged, they attacked, they set aggressive fields. Nothing worked. Laxman scored 281. Dravid scored 180. Harbhajan Singh spun Australia into the dust, taking 13 wickets in the match. On March 20, 2001, India completed an impossible comeback. Australia were beaten, but something far more important had happened. India had learned that Australia were not invincible. Australia had learned that India would not back down. That test did not just change a series, it created resentment, it created respect, and it created a rivalry fueled by ego, pride, and unfinished business. From that day onward, India versus Australia was no longer just cricket, it was personal. Fire on the field, December 2003. 2 years later, the rivalry moved to Australian soil. December 26, 2003, the Melbourne Cricket Ground, Boxing Day Test. This time, Australia were hosts, and they intended to remind India who ruled the world. Sourav Ganguly led India with defiance. Steve Waugh, nearing the end of his career, captained Australia with steel. From the very first day, the match crackled with tension. There was constant sledging, aggressive body language, stares that lasted a second too long. Australia wanted submission. India refused to give it. India batted bravely and fought their way to a draw, an achievement in itself on Australian pitches. But the scoreboard told only half the story. This match confirmed something crucial. India would challenge Australia everywhere, not just at home. The rivalry had evolved. It was no longer student versus master, it was challenger versus champion, and the temperature kept rising. The tension builds. December 2007. Fast forward to December 2007. A new Indian team had arrived. Sourav Ganguly was gone. Rahul Dravid was gone. Sachin Tendulkar remained, but leadership had changed. Anil Kumble was now captain, quiet, disciplined, and respected. Australia, too, had evolved. Steve Waugh had retired. Shane Warne had retired. Glenn McGraw had retired, but their mindset remained unchanged. Win at all costs, control the narrative, control the opposition. India lost the Boxing Day test at Melbourne under controversial circumstances, questionable umpiring decisions, dropped catches, and missed opportunities. Despite the loss, the series was still alive. The next match was in Sydney. Few could have imagined what was about to unfold. January 2nd, 2008, Sydney Cricket Ground. On January 2nd, 2008, India and Australia walked onto the Sydney Cricket Ground under clear skies and heavy expectations. From the opening session, something felt wrong. Umpiring decisions began to go against India repeatedly. Close calls consistently favored Australia. LBW appeals were rejected. Edges were ignored.
Andrew Simons is not moving, which is, I certainly heard something.
Back arm, back pocket. Couldn't have, not with this reaction. This sort of reaction suggests, what are you thinking, umpire?
India batted first and piled on a massive 532. Sachin Tendulkar scored a century under pressure. VVS Loxman once again haunted Australia with another 100. It should have been enough, but Australia replied strongly with 463. The match remained finely balanced, and beneath the cricket, frustration simmered. Every appeal became louder, every exchange sharper, every incident magnified. This was no longer just a test match, it was a pressure cooker. January 6th, 2008, Day 3 turns ugly. Day 3 changed everything. Andrew Simons was batting aggressively for Australia. Harbhajan Singh, fiery and competitive, was bowling. After a run-out chance that failed, tempers flared. Words were exchanged. Then came the allegation. Andrew Simons approached the umpire, claiming Harbhajan Singh had used a racist term against him. The accusation was explosive. Racism is one of the gravest charges in sport. It goes beyond games, rivalries, and results. Play was halted briefly. Players gathered. Umpires spoke privately with both sides. There was no stump microphone recording, no clear video evidence, only conflicting accounts. Harbhajan denied the accusation completely. Indian players supported him. But once such an allegation is made, silence becomes impossible. The atmosphere shifted instantly. The match continued, but the series had already crossed a point of no return. The aftermath, January 7th, 2008. After the day's play on January 7th, the ICC charged Harbhajan Singh under the racism clause of the Code of Conduct. The potential punishment was severe, a lengthy suspension. The Indian team was stunned. Anil Kumble publicly stated that he did not believe Harbhajan was racist. Senior players stood shoulder to shoulder. To India, this felt like a judgment without proof. To Australia, it was about defending a player. What began as an on-field argument had become an international controversy. Media in both countries exploded. Television debates ran non-stop. Former players weighed in. Public opinion hardened. Cricket was no longer in control. The verdict, January 8, 2008. On January 8, 2008, the match referee delivered his verdict. Harbhajan Singh was found guilty. 3 test match ban. Indian cricket was rocked. The decision was seen as deeply unfair, especially given the lack of concrete evidence. The Indian dressing room was furious, but composed. The Board of Control for Cricket of India considered drastic action.
I'm not someone who, like a god, I'm a human. People make mistakes. I must have made mistakes, and I'm sure I'm learned from my mistake.
India threatened to abandon the tour. For the first time, world cricket faced a reality it could not ignore. India was no longer a minor stakeholder. India takes a stand. January 9, 2008 marked a turning point. The BCCI formally protested the decision. Diplomatic pressure mounted. Anil Kumble's words resonated globally. Only one team was playing in the spirit of the game.
Only one team was playing with the spirit of the game. That's all I can say.
It was a calm statement, but devastating in impact.
For decades, India had tolerated questionable treatment abroad. This time, they refused. The message was clear. Respect was non-negotiable. The appeal, January 11, 2008. On January 11, 2008, the appeal hearing took place. Evidence was reviewed again. Testimonies were re-examined. Without audio or visual proof, the racism charge could not stand. The charge was downgraded to abusive language. Harbhajan Singh's ban was lifted. India stayed on the tour, but the scars remained. Trust had been damaged between teams, between boards, and between fans. The Sydney Test was officially over, but its consequences were just beginning. The final test, January 16, 2008. When India arrived in Adelaide for the final test, the mood had changed. Harbhajan Singh returned to the 11. India played with controlled aggression and purpose. They dominated. The victory was emphatic. It felt symbolic, a response not just to Australia, but to the system itself. The series loss no longer mattered. India had made a statement far more powerful than a trophy. Why this incident changed Indian cricket? The Sydney Test forced Indian cricket to mature politically. India recognized its influence. From that moment onward, India demanded transparency. India demanded accountability. India demanded respect. Silence was no longer an option. The Monkeygate incident was never just about a word. It was about dignity. The long-term impact. In the years following 2008, the ICC revised disciplinary procedures. Greater emphasis was placed on evidence. Player conduct guidelines became clearer. Most importantly, India's voice grew stronger in global cricket governance. The balance of power shifted. That Sydney Test became a reference point, a line in history. The match at Sydney, played from January 2nd to January 6th, 2008, during the 2007-2008 Border Gavaskar Trophy, was not just another test match. It was the moment Indian cricket was shaken to its core. It was the moment Indian cricket pushed back. And from that moment onward, Indian cricket was never the same again. If you enjoyed deep stories behind cricket's most intense moments, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Because some incidents are bigger than the scorecard. They change the game forever.